Now time to get underway with the first bout of senior X30 action for 2024. Here's your starting grid for Heat 1. Groups A versus D. Hugo Martiniello and Noah Maton will be on the front row. Patrice Kowalski and Kyuho Lee will be on row 2. Henki Kalteren and Lars Venning, row 3. Angelo Melli and Mirko Wouters round out row 4 with Raphael Dao and Clément Outran rounding out the top 10. Delano Wellens and Yanis Bouillet, row 6. Then it's Zem van der Heyden and CJ Bennett on row 7. Row 8, it's Gilles Renman and Clément Massot. Row 9, Rima Blanc and Olly Meurs with Quentin Dapoigny and Gaetan de Brabandrera. Hopefully I got that name right. Then we've got Alexis Constant and Florent Dierda on row 11. Then we've got Luca Montebello and Tayo Fliegen on row 12. Luca Desgrange and Wesley de Goy on row 13. Then we've got Matteo de Kerkhofer and Tesfa Shaw on row 14. Jens Bjørsad and then Niklas Dodetsveen on row 15, completing the top 30. Eli Dax, Konduroy, Emilio Vanofferberger, and then we've got Anne-Charlotte Duro, Bo Heymans and Viljami Pauna, rounding out the 36 strong grid. 10 minutes plus an additional lap as the drivers start to slow through the part of the circuit just off of turn number 4 and heading into turn 5. Even though there's a bit of a straight line, you really have to carry the momentum through those corners, and once they get past the yellow line, they have to be in position. If they are found to be outside of their correct starting position, there is normally an additional time penalty added to their total race time. This is really where the fireworks are going to start, here at the Karting des Fagnes International Raceway here at Mariembourg in the southern part of Belgium. But it is going to be down to Martiniello and Maton to control the pace. Of course, we've already had 2 exciting junior races. They will recommence their battling tomorrow morning, which will be at about 10:40. The seniors will kickstart things off tomorrow morning at 9:40 a.m. But the drivers now will start to get into formation. So Martiniello and Maton in position on the front row of the grid. A capacity 108 drivers here this weekend for the opening round of 5 of 2024 for the Yame Series Benelux season. Out of the chicane, into the tram lines. Revs rise. Lights are on, lights are out first time. They hurtle their way down into turn number 1. Kowalski looks to have gotten a better run. Maton runs wide out of turn 1. And drops down to at least 6th, 7th, maybe even 8th position. Oh, there's a bit of a carambolage through turn 3. And oh, dearie me, one of the carts has gone off. Now, was that Noah Maton, I believe? Possibly. But they all still, by the skin of the rubber on the rear bumpers, have just about made it through. But Martiniello has, I think, gotten away initially. Kowalski also got through. Maton has dropped down the order significantly, I fear.
Départ très mouvementé de cette première manche qualificative de la saison dans la catégorie X30 senior avec, on l'a vu, possiblement Noah Maton qui a été mis en difficulté au niveau du deuxième virage. Il est sorti très large et a dû passer par la pelouse avant de reprendre la piste. En attendant, devant, il y a un homme qui ne s'est pas fait prier pour prendre l'avantage. Il s'agit du néerlandais Henki Kalteren, candidat au titre très certainement cette saison dans cette Yame Series Benelux. Il devance pour l'instant Patrice Kowalski qui a pris un bon départ depuis la 3e place. Et puis à la 3e position, on retrouve pour l'instant le numéro 243. Il s'agit d'Hugo Martiniello qui s'est lancé depuis la pole position. Et attention, le numéro 203 s'est fait piéger. Il est sorti, il repart seulement maintenant.
Florent Dierda in the 203 car. That's on the outskirts of turn number 1. Noah Maton from 2nd on the outside of the front row, now 26th. Big development there for the 207 representing Belgium, was on the outside of the front row, and I think got caught, well, lost out 4 or 5 positions on turn 1. We're about to complete our 2nd lap of racing as Kowalski's going after Kalteren for the race lead. Martiniello holding on to P3 at the moment. Well, it looks like that Angelo Milli is now up into P3. Martiniello gets a little bit of a slight touch on the rear bumper by Kyu-Ho Lee from the Republic of Korea, who's currently running P5. Delano Vellens is there. Rafael Dao is there. There's Delano Vellens we just saw briefly going through, shot catching the rear number. As there's the move for the lead, up the inside, Kowalski through on Henki Kalteren. The 201 from the Netherlands gets passed by the Belgian.
Les temps sont durs pour le poleman Hugo Martiniello qui a de nouveau perdu une position. C'est Angelo Milli qui est passé à la 3e position. Et puis un changement de leader aussi à signaler. Patrice Kowalewski qui a été l'auteur d'une attaque nette et sans bavure au niveau de l'épingle du chemin de fer. Il est passé devant Henki Kalteren qui est désormais 2e. Patrice Kowalewski, Kalteren, c'est le duo de tête. Ensuite on retrouve Angelo Milli. Désormais à la 4e place, c'est Kyo-Lee qui est passé devant Martiniello, qui est donc très certainement là pour l'instant en difficulté. C'est un mauvais moment à passer pour le pilote qui s'est lancé depuis la première place, qui est désormais sous la menace de Rafael Do.
Rafael Do was very, very quick to try and put one up the inside of Martiniello, but Martiniello quickly responded. There's the change for third. So Kyu-Ho Lee on the inside at Chemin de Fer on the number 224 of Angelo Milli. So the Korean driver making some good headway up the field. Started 4th, dropped a couple of places back. I'm going to keep an eye on Noah Maton at the moment. Last time was over the line in 25th position. So Maton's first round of the championship has not quite gone to plan. Went well in qualifying, and the first heat has been an absolute disaster for the Belgian, but we will see them come across the line. You can see the top 10 covered by 5.4 seconds. Change for fourth place. So that was Martiniello back through on the inside of Milli, who's just lost another 2 positions. Going through Sir Rafael Dao and Delano Vellens through on Angelo Milli for the moment.
La bagarre très intense pour les positions dans le top 5. On a vu Hugo Martiniello reprendre la 4e position à Angelo Milli. Angelo Milli qui a été mis en difficulté, poussé un petit peu à l'extérieur et qui a perdu 2 autres positions. Il est désormais aux alentours de la 7e position. Et puis on vous parlait il y a quelques instants de Noah Maton. C'est effectivement lui qui a perdu gros au début de cette manche qualificative. Il était redescendu au 25e rang à début de manche qualificative assez compliquée pour le pilote belge. Et pendant ce temps-là, eh bien, on le disait aussi tout à l'heure, Hugo Martiniello qui a passé un mauvais moment tout à l'heure, il est en train de reprendre des couleurs. Tout le contraire pour Angelo Milli, encore un peu bousculé là.
Yeah, also we've had a time penalty. One driver with 2 wheels out of the tram lines. Thailand's Tayo Fliegen has now got an additional 3 seconds coming his way to the additional to his race time post-race, but with 4 minutes and 35 seconds still to go. The rookie Patrice Kowalski leads the way, but not by much, ahead of Henki Kalteren. So it's Belgium versus the Netherlands, with Korea rounding out the top 3, and they are scrapping over the final few places in the top 5 just behind. But Martiniello is trying to do as much as he can. He's currently about 6 and a bit tenths of a second behind Kyu-Ho Lee. So that could be very, very close indeed. There's going to be a move up the inside here. Now that was behind CJ Bennett. So could have been Rima Blanc or Clément Massot through on Lars Venning.
Devant Patrice Kowalewski emmène toujours les débats, emmène toujours le peloton avec Henki Kalteren juste derrière lui, le Belge devant le Néerlandais. Patrice Kowalewski qui nous vient de la catégorie X30 junior, mais qui a déjà réalisé de très belles performances en X30 senior. C'est d'ailleurs lui qui est reparti avec le titre de champion des Pays-Bas lors de la Yame Series Netherlands qui avait lieu il y a 2 semaines d'ici. Il n'avait pas remporté la finale, mais il avait réalisé un très beau week-end qui au final, au cumul des manches, lui avait permis de remporter un premier titre en senior. Et là il montre qu'il est bien en forme, bien en confiance. Patrice Kowalewski, leader devant Henki Kalteren et Kyo-Lee, Hugo Martiniello et Rafael Do maintenant qui est 5e 6e position pour Yanis Bouillet, là il me semble, ouais c'est ça, Yanis Bouillet qui est en 6e position et ça se bagarre encore au niveau du virage 3 avec des dépassements assez musclés au milieu du peloton.
Yeah, CJ Bennett got a little bit muscled out coming through into turn number 4, the 2:35 from Victory Lane. The Irishman has dropped another place or two. I think in front might be, I'm just having a look down the order. It's difficult to say because they are changing positions hand over fist, and sometimes it's difficult. You know, they're in a line, they're in a train here as they come down into the final right-hander. But look at this. Kowalski battling away with Caltron for the race lead, and they were next to nothing apart. 57 thousandths with 2 minutes and 20 still to go, plus an additional lap. Kowalski is signalling his intentions for this season. He might be a rookie, but he's rapid.
Oui, Patrice Kowalski qui est un rookie dans cette catégorie, mais qui n'a pas du tout l'allure, alors que derrière, ça se bouscule encore. Ce 3e virage, il est vraiment assez particulier. C'est une opportunité de dépassement, certes, mais pour celui qui se retrouve à l'extérieur et un petit peu poussé à l'extérieur, parfois c'est très dangereux, d'autant que par la suite, eh bien, dans le virage du raccordement, il est parfois mal placé, en ressortant parfois mal de ce 3e virage. En tout cas, on a beaucoup de bagarres à cet endroit. Allez, il reste moins de 2 minutes maintenant au chronomètre avant de présenter le panneau un tour. Patrice Kowalski qui est toujours là bien en tête, derrière Henki Kalteren qui semble bien prendre son temps, de voir s'il a la possibilité ou pas de dépasser. Patrice Kowalski qui regarde d'ailleurs derrière lui, qui jette un œil pour mesurer l'avantage qu'il a par rapport au Néerlandais. Le Néerlandais qui a terminé sur le podium l'année dernière, il me semble, de cette Yame Series Benelux, 3e position pour le Néerlandais qui se verrait bien, décrocher la couronne ici. Un 10e d'écart entre ces deux-là et derrière le trou est fait avec Ioli qui est déjà relégué à plus de 3 secondes.
Yeah, 3-second distance, well, 3.7 seconds actually was the point between Henki Kaltenen, who has put in the fastest lap of the race. We are pretty much going to go on to our penultimate lap of this first of 3 senior X30 heats as Kaltenen pulls the pin up the inside, through on Kowalski. It was not a case of if, it was a case of when, and Kaltenen instantly defends going through into turn 2. But Kowalski might have thought, well, I'm going to try leading for a few laps and see how it feels. Now there's, he's signalling now to Kaltenen, come on, get on with it. Look, look, let's just pull away from those two. It doesn't matter whether they all want to win, guarantee. But at this point, Kalteren will be like, okay, started the season with the win in the first qualifying heat. Kowalski will be going like, right, I'm learning, I'm watching what you're doing. Time has now expired. This time around, what's the gap going to be? Well, Kaltenen's pulled out a little bit of distance, about 2 kart lengths, coming through out of the final right-hander. Through the chicane they go, onto the start-finish straights. 1 more lap remains. How far behind is Kowalski, who's about a kart length, as they go into turn 1 for the final time. So 1/10 was the gap that separated them. You can be 0.2 of a second behind the driver in front of you, and you can get an absolutely massive tow. But Kowalski is now fighting with Kaltenen, who's looking over his shoulder. This is not what he's trying to back Kowalski up a little bit here. He's like saying, well, I'm the leader, I've got the racing line. Kowalski's saying, come on, right. Oh, and there's a little bit of a touch between the pair, I think. And Kalteren, no surprise, raises his left hand and says, what was that? I'm sorry, that was not a fair fight. But you could see a little bit of impatience from Kowalski. However, on the road, Kowalski is going to come out of the final double right-hander. Kalteren will definitely say something post-race, I'm sure, but it's going to be out of the final corner, out through the chicane, and it is going to be the rookie, Patrice Kowalski, that wins Heat 1, qualifying Heat 1, Groups A versus D, ahead of Henki Kalteren. And I think Hugo Martiniello did hold on to that 3rd place after everything was said and done. Did notice that CJ Bennett was very much under fire the entire race. He definitely got more than hip check. So Patrice Kowalski wins by nearly 9.5 of a second ahead of Henki Kalteren, who also picks up the fastest lap of the race. Now I'm looking for further penalties. 2-2-3 also got a 5-second time penalty for pushing. That was Wesley de Goy down in 27th, but Martiniello does take third place. Kyuho Lee, Yanis Bouillet, and then it's Rafael Dow rounds out the top 6. Delano Valens, Angelo Merli, Clément Massot, and Rima Blanc round out the top 10 provisionally. Here are the results coming through. So it's Venink, Van der Heijden, Outron, 13th, Constant, Henmans, Bennett down to 16th at the end, ahead of a recovering Noah Maton, who started up in second, was down to 26, now finishes 17th, ahead of Kunderoy, running at the top 18 positions. Bohemans, Tesfashore, Gaetan de Brabandera, Luca Montebello, Mirko Wouters, Niklas Lottesveen, Jens Buesert, Van Offenberger, Vliegen, De Goy, Van der Kerkhofer, Meurs de Grange, Anturo, Dax, Pauna, and De Poigny round out the 35 that finished, but Derda retired on lap 7. That's heat 1 in the books, 2 more to go.